All right, welcome back to Pop Health. Unfortunately, it is another day in America. We're reporting on another mass on a live event, this time at UNLV. And so, just going through the main article, basically there was 3 people unalive in a shooting on UNLV's campus. A man who once applied for a professorship at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, allegedly opened fire on campus Wednesday, unaliving 3 and injuring another in a heinous incident that shattered peace at the school. Honestly, there's no peace in America. I think this is probably like we're in 300 events of like mass unalivings in America, and I'll get more on that data later. The gunman, whom law enforcement officials have not named, went floor to floor in Beam Hall and was only stopped by a campus police officer who engaged him in a shootout. What happened today is heinous, unforgivable, from the sheriff. ABC sources have identified the suspect as Anthony Polito, 67, who had applied for a college professorship at UNLV but was not hired. So there's early indications that this was a targeted attack. There's early indications on the victims. This is not really confirmed just yet, but from a number of news sources, basically they were mostly faculty and staff, and they weren't any students. The gunman, who has not been named by police, formerly worked at East Carolina University in North Carolina, had unsuccessfully tried to get a job at UNLV before he carried out a deadly rampage. And the reason why this is such a grisly attack, though, is that it brings back a lot of memories about 6 years ago of the Route 91 Harvest Festival that took place, or mass unaliving that took place in the Manly Bay Hotel, where a lone gunman unalived 60 people. That was, I think, one of the most deadliest, mass unalivings we had in, U.S. history, as well as just a scene of that, was really prolific because it's just, you see like a whole sea of people at a country festival, and basically like people just started dropping left and right. So definitely like it brings a lot of grisly memories. Now, there's this good database. I want to look at the Violence Prevention Project at Hamlin University. I'm gonna look at other databases in a minute. But basically, what is the definition of a mass shooting before I even go more into it? And right here, there is no universally accepted definition of a mass shooting. For a long time, mass shootings were studied as a variation of mass, unaliving, like unalive on a mass scale, not just like in like a small terms of like maybe a few bodies, but a generic term for multiple homicides that are very along what researchers agree are important dimensions: time, place, and method. For instance, someone who unalives their victims in separate events is different from someone who unalives them all at once. A person who unalives in the public is different from a person who unalives in private, especially when it comes to private victims, when it comes to domestic violence, intimate partners, and family members. And differs still from a contract unaliver, bank robber, or a gang member who unalives in the commission of another crime. Basically, just like their definition of it is just like a person who unalives someone at the same time, many people at the same time, for a specific purpose and method. And so when it comes to that, when it comes to this database, there have been 193 mass, public unalivings or shootings in the past. This would be about, I would say about 57 years. And so I'll link this more down below. It studies like, key findings, databases, K through 12 on shootings, as well as Twin Cities, like, unalivings, in the Minneapolis and St. Paul, I think, was it? Yeah. So pretty much like they're doing a research project on that. So it's a pretty good database. I'll definitely still link it down below. It has been signed by CNN, by ABC, like all reputable news sites. So it's pretty much a good, source of data. All right, so another database we're looking at is a gun violence archive. I really like this database. Not so much for the definition of mass unalivings, I will see in a minute, but basically it categories all the total amounts of gun violence crimes, whether it be homicide, unintentional DGUs, as well as self deletions. But going more in depth about the mass unaliving category, why does the GBA mass shooting numbers are higher than other sources? GBA, it purely uses the statistical threshold to define mass shootings based only on the numeric value of form or shot or unalived, not including the shooter. The GBA does not parse the definition to remove any subcategory of shooting. And to that end, we do not exclude, set, or caveat, or differentiate victims based upon circumstances in which they were shot. So here's the thing with this. Yes, I get their understanding of like, we need to look at the statistical amount of it, and like it is startling how many people are, you know, caught up in mass unalivings, whether it be, you know, in a drive-by, or whether it be like one of these public, you know, mass, you know, executions we've seen with, you know, UNLV. But that's also nothing to keep in mind, that not all mass, you know, unalivings happen for the same reason. Like the same reason why, you know, this guy went into a college campus to, you know, unalive, you know, people that potentially might have rejected him from a job, versus, let's say, you know, Columbine, you know, those are many different reasons why things happen. And it's just, you know, that's something to keep in mind on like how do we build solutions around that. And so depending on what case you're making or what case you need to, you know, really build, you need to really understand, you know, the differences between different mass unalive events, because it really, you know, will hamper what type of prevention methods we need for those certain instances, because not all events are equal same. Like not everyone, you know, who going unalive, you know, in a, you know, a random building is going to be, you know, schizophrenic. It could have been a revenge plot like we see yesterday, as well as us, like, you know, beef, anger, retaliation, all that. And they need a host of different solutions for each, you know, type of event. And so by any measure, it's very starting how big these numbers are. Like these are really insane numbers that we, like, you know, that is not normal. And it's just like, you know, it's unfortunate that we live in a country where we keep having to have this whole argument about what's the problem, what's the solution of this. And the obvious solution, we have too many weapons on the street, and like weapons we keep selling that don't need to be in the civilian population. Like, yes, I get everybody's not going to use an AR-15, but at the end of the day, not every, you shouldn't be selling a militaristic, you know, style weapon to the public. That is not what it's made to use. It's not a toy. And it's a fortunate fact that we have a gun culture like that that keeps people, you know, around and thinking like, you know, hey, you know, it's okay, this is normal, this is chill, you know, life is going to keep going on. And now we having home invasions, we having kids being unalived. Like we have even the self-deletion rate at a higher rate than actual, you know, gun violence, you know, perpetrator crimes and all that. So it's a really bad state of affairs, you know, in America. Like what happened yesterday was preventable by any measures. Maybe I don't know what specific laws they have in Las Vegas about background checks, as well as in any other state he was in. So with all that being said, you know, we talk about a lot about thoughts and prayers, like, you know, those are not enough. Why we keep doing this? You know, what is the actual solution towards this thing? And my thing is, you know, get involved in your community, reach out to somebody, you know, stop trying to sit around and just be like waiting for somebody else having a bystander effect to really just pitch in and do their own thing. Like donate money to community-based organizations if you don't want to do the handiwork yourself, like Cure Violence and like a lot of other different initiatives or research initiatives. Do that, get involved, volunteer, be some good out in the world, like peer mentor, whatever. As well as like if you see something, actually say something, report somebody to the police, especially if your state got red flag laws. Like I cannot tell you that, you know, yes, we have a lot of proliferation of weapons in, you know, circulation in the US, but at the end of the day, if you see something, say something and get the warning signs, because literally like this probably could have been prevented by many measures. I'm gonna keep following up on this case. I'm not making any big speculations right now. It might come in a later video, but it's a sad state of affairs. My heart goes out to the victims. My heart goes out to the families of the victims, as well as my heart goes out to the students, because I'm still a college student. Like I'm in graduate school, like, and I'm just far, like a little bit removed from my undergrad. I just pray for love, peace, therapy for these survivors, and, you know, making sure they get what they need, especially during this stressful season of finals. But with that being said, that has been Pop Help for today. If you like what you see today, like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, all that wonderful good stuff. What I'm gonna be linking in this video is my documentary, or like my little like video essay about, you know, violence that I linked down in the I'm gonna link up right here. But with that being said, stay warm, stay frosty, depending on what part of the country you're in, and peace out.